Bonjour everyone, welcome back to another video. Sorry I didn't do one last week as I promised. I just came down with a bit of man flu, and as we all know, man flu is a lot worse than regular flu. Well, I just had the sniffles really, but summer's round the corner. It's getting a little bit hot in England. It's gone from about 4 degrees to about 10 degrees, which is like summer basically down here. And I've been getting quite a few emails regarding cutting for summer, obviously getting in shape, regarding supplementation, training and diet. So I thought I'd do a video today covering all three of them topics. Now, the secret to getting absolutely shredded is that pill, that magic pill. If you take one of these pills a day, you can eat what you want, you don't even have to train, and you will look shredded. Now, I'm sure if you've probably typed in how to get shredded for summer, how to get cut, and bullshit like that happens with magic pills. Now, that's not the way forward. If you ever come across something like 4-minute abs or the diet pill that people bang on about, even that Chinese fellow, Japanese, Mike Chang, he promotes that sort of stuff as well, doesn't he? But I'm just going to go through today what the best thing for supplementation, training and diet is to, well, get shredded or get close to being as shredded as possible. So these three supplements that I take personally, I believe are almost essential. Some people may disagree entirely and say you don't need them. However, I do think they're pretty worth it and pretty basic in your diet, starting with number one, which is a good whey protein shake. I use Optimum Nutrition's Gold Standard 100% whey. I've been using this since I've been starting training, really, 3 years ago. It's very high in protein. It's got 24 grams per scoop, 5.5 grams of BCAAs, 4 grams of glutamine, is very low in carb and fat. Now, the best time to take a whey protein shake, some people say after training, that's a very good time, or especially when you're cutting, obviously, because we've cut out sort of the bad foods, the sweet foods. If you've got a sweet tooth like me, something like this around night time is very beneficial. The next supplement I recommend whilst bulking or cutting really is a multivitamin. I've been taking Optimen by Optimum Nutrition again since I started training for 3 years. And I would say I haven't had a cold in 3 years, but I think last week was the only time I did have one for that amount of time. It's got everything you need in there, high dosage of vitamin A, D, E, K, C, magnesium, zinc, all the bullshit. Many people don't feel the need to take a multivitamin because they think that you can get a lot through food, and that is true to a certain extent. However, it's a backup, it's an insurance really. The third and final supplement that I believe is essential is a fish oil. Again, this is just Optimum Nutrition just because it came cheaper with that on Dolphin Fitness. You can buy any old fish oil as long as it's high in sort of 1,000 milligrams per pill. You can get it from Holland & Barrett or from GNC where I work. But again, this is just going to help regulate the heart and things like that. It also helps and sorts out my joints quite nicely when I'm cutting as well, because I tend to get a bit of inflammation. The following supplements that I'm about to go through are optional. They're not vital. However, I do like taking them sometimes from time to time. Starting with a pre-workout. I'll probably take a pre-workout year round, every year, all day, every day. I've used things like Grenade's pre-workout, Optimum Nutrition's Platinum Pre. I'm using, and probably won't ever stop using, Rich Piana's 5% Kill It. This is some strong shit. The Americans know how to do it. As long as you've got like a high dose of L-arginine and beta-alanine in there to get the old tingles and you get a good pump, that's all. However, you don't need that. You could just have a Red Bull, low sugar Red Bull, no sugar Red Bull, or a black coffee. The next supplement that some people take, they like to take when they're cutting, you don't have to. Again, as I said in my previous video regarding BCAAs, they are not vital, but I like to take these when I wake up in the morning, have a scoop of this, go and do 45 minutes on the treadmill. Again, you can just have like a protein and carb rich meal pre-training, so you don't really need it. Another supplement that I tend to take, sometimes I don't have it on with me at the moment, but it's creatine. When you are cutting, because we're not having a huge carbohydrate intake like we are when we're bulking, our strength tends to decrease, so something like creatine added in might be quite beneficial. Another thing that I like to take, it's not essential when cutting, is good old green tea. I mean, a couple of bags of these get you absolutely shredded. That's just a bit of bro science really. I just like having these between meals. Now that supplementation is hopefully covered, on to training. Now for me and a lot of people I know, training doesn't differ a lot between cutting and bulking. The only difference really is adding a couple more cardio sessions in when you are cutting. A basic training routine that you could use is an upper lower, rest upper lower, or upper lower cardio, upper lower cardio. Now I like doing some high intensity interval training after leg day. Try it out for yourselves. It helps with recovery. My coach got me doing that a couple of weeks ago after leg session, either some sprints on the treadmill or some sprints on the bike. You could also vary up the different types of training you're doing. So the first 2 upper body, lower body sessions could be strength based, and the next 2 could be hypertrophy, and just change up the exercises in each session really. If you would like more in-depth information regarding different exercises for different body parts, just drop me an email and I'll be happy to send you them over. Now onto the topic of diet, which is probably the most important thing when cutting. They do say that abs are made in the kitchen. Mum, have we got any abs? That was an absolutely shit joke. I'm sorry. So sorry. Now, the most easiest and simplest way to work out macros when cutting is to first work out your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. I feel that the Harris and Benedict equation is probably one of the best out there. Once you have your BMR, you times that by your activity level. And then once you've got that figure, either minus 500 calories or 10 to 15%. Now, that's the most basic and easiest way of working out calories when you're cutting. I'll post a link below in the description box so you lot can figure that out for yourselves. Now, once you've got that figure, whether that be something like 2,200 calories or whatever your figure is, there is many different dieting techniques to use out there. A couple favourites of mine personally are IIFYM, which stands for if it fits your macros. There's a lot of hype surrounding that in the fitness industry, whether it works or not. When I was cutting for my holiday, I did it IIFYM, and for me it worked perfectly. It also allows a little bit more freedom when you're dieting, so you don't get bored with the same old chicken, rice and broccoli sort of shit. Another method that I like to use personally is carb backloading, which basically throughout the day you tend to eat majority fat and protein, go into the gym, do your session and have all the carbs at the end. Now that's a good sort of thing to do if you are like me and have a sweet tooth and get cravings at night time, because that means generally you can have most of your carbohydrates at night time. On to different percentages of fats, proteins and carbohydrates. Personally, I don't go with a sort of set percentage of each macro. I just like to figure out in grams and then write it down in my book and then go from there. It's also very good to experiment with different levels of carbs and fats and protein and things like that, because at the end of the day, everyone differs. So for me, for example, I like to keep my carbs very high when cutting and my fats fairly low, but not too low to that certain extent, because we need them for obviously hormonal balance and things like that. It depends if you're natty or on gear. My current macro split, well, I'm very close to competition. I'm 2 weeks out, so this is something I wouldn't recommend. I'm currently on 150 grams of carbs, 45 fat and 225 protein. Now, I hope I've covered most basic areas for cutting. I usually do miss some stuff out. I'm only human. If there's anything you feel I have or anything you've got questions on, just drop them in the comments section. I'm 2.5 weeks out from my show, so getting very close now. This is like the fucking graveyard shift. I'm craving a lot of bad foods and things like that. Every time I smell a bit of KFC or Burger King, I just feel like absolutely crying. But that's the fun of it, I suppose. Anyway, I'll be doing a lot more videos surrounding competition time during peak week. I'll try and bosh one out every single day to see changes in my body and things like that. I'll also try and sneak the camera in backstage when I'm pumping up and things like that. So until the next time, adios.